Hello and welcome to the BRYX News, the weekly show on all things brick building where we talk about set updates and announcements from all the major brands, MOCs of the week, and a few reading recommendations as well. Information is presented as always by setb.org, the best source for set information on the internet. And this is where we're going to go in a second, but first and foremost, let me tell you, Happy New Year. I wish all of you, I hope you all had a good start into the new year. This is actually our first news show of the year. I did already this morning the German version, so happy to be back here as well at Merlins BRYX. And so let's get right into the weeds, if you will, and let's get started with BlueBrixx as we go through the brands in alphabetical order, as we always do. And here we have a ton of availabilities, obviously, because I did have a 2 weeks break. Of course, there is a ton of set updates and news. However, I will actually skip quite a few. As always, you can, of course, also go to merlinsbrix.com or go to setb.org and then just go into newly added, newly available on these tabs, and then you can get a lot more updates as well. However, coming back, BlueBrixx, the brand over here from Central Europe, has now available the Elven Ruins, a 108095, 2,505 pieces. Nothing has changed there, but it's gonna cost you $100. As always with BlueBrixx, we are getting the prices only with release. BlueBrixx never gives us any prices at set announcement time, which on the other hand is a lot earlier than it is with most other brands. Sometimes it is even a couple of weeks. In fact, I never talked about this set in the English version of this podcast before, but I think they already announced this like many months ago. Anyhow, it is a BlueBrixx Pro set, so I assume that the bricks are from Xingbao, but actually this can only be confirmed by folks who have actually built it, because BlueBrixx is never telling us what kind of pieces they're using in each individual set. Anyhow, we do know the price. As always, keep in mind, over here in good old Europe, prices always include value-add tax. That's $100 including tax. In fact, in Germany, that's 19% VAT, so keep that in mind. Anyhow, 4 cents a piece is not too shabby. Of course, we don't know what kind of pieces. I always like this set. I think it's a beautiful design. I think it's a cool idea. BlueBrixx is not including any minifigures, even if it's a BlueBrixx Pro set. I think, in fact, most other BlueBrixx Pro sets we will talk about in a second actually do include minifigures. This one does not. Keep that in mind. Anyhow, with that, we are moving on to the first release of the first set of the new line that BlueBrixx is working on, called Blaubrunn Monastery. Here the Hermitage is now available as well, 108097. It is called a Hermitage, but there are 2 minifigures included. But on the other hand, if you look at the box art, it looks like, okay, one is the true hermit and the other one is just on a visit. So there are 2 minifigures included. And then you have the building as well, which you will be able to combine with the 108267. However, this second set is not available yet. This one here has 3,332 pieces, and BlueBrixx is asking for $130. Similar price range to the previous set, around 4 cents a piece. Not too bad. With that, we're moving on to the newest extension of BRYX Castle, also a relatively big line from BlueBrixx, where they have like a ton of sets that you combine into order to be able to build bigger and bigger castles. And here you now have the Alchemist's Tower, 108111. It's gonna cost you $15, 4.9 cents a piece. I assume it's going to be Xingbao pieces. This is what I've heard from the community. In the past, some of these sets had BRYX material, which in my point of view, or my opinion, is actually better. But here we go. I assume it's Xingbao piece as well. This set does not include any minifigures. Most of the new BRYX Castle sets also include minifigs. This one does not, which is a bit unfortunate, because the Alchemist Tower, we would like to have an alchemist. That would be awesome. Next to that, of course, you may use this tower for other purposes as well. It does not necessarily have to be used as an alchemist tower, right? At the end of the day, it's just a tower. Anyhow, with that, moving on to 2 sets that I have actually ordered yesterday night. So really looking forward to building these. These are BlueBrixx specials. So this is a kind of different line from BlueBrixx, and they are called Medieval Street. And there we have first the bakery, 108069, 2,183 pieces. Not small set, and it's going to cost you $80, similar price range than the others. And then the second set, the sister set, if you will, is from the Medieval Street line, the Print Shop 108068. It is a bigger set. What is interesting about these two is that they have this kind of drawer layout. Because they're relatively small, they're on 16 by 32 studs. The idea, I guess, of the entire Medieval Street line is that you will be able to plug these together, similar to modulars, for instance, from Lego. And so you have these pins here on the side. Obviously, if you want to, you can use them in a pure medieval, truly medieval setting, of course, if you're interested in that. But of course, because they are on a base plate and they do have these pin connectors, you can also use them in combination with modulars, because, you know, if you go to European cities, I, for instance, live in a small German city in the southern Germany, and actually we have a lot of these kind of buildings. They still do exist. So as a result, of course, I think especially if you're interested in a European city, there's a good chance that this should work very well. For instance, together with the new Tudor house, you could use this as well. So I think in general a cool concept. However, because they are so small, but at the same time so packed, BlueBrixx has gone for this concept for modularity by means that you have this drawer layout, which I'm really interested in if this actually works and how practical this is. I have my slight suspicions that this looks good in theory. In practice, these drawers may get stuck quite easily. I mean, I have played around in my own MOCs with similar concepts, and usually this stuff gets stuck pretty fast. So let's see how this works. Plus, BlueBrixx specials do not really have the material that they're using is not exactly the same quality as for instance Lego is or Cobi is. So yeah, looking forward to building these. I think they look amazing, but I have my doubts around the modularity concept. Nevertheless, the second set is going to cost you $90, so $10 more compared to the other one, but it has also several hundred additional pieces. And then we have the Weeping Willow 107465. So BlueBrixx used to do a lot of trees in the past. So I think when they started to get really famous over here in Germany, so around 2020, 2021, they had a lot of tree sets that they released in the early days, oaks and stuff like that. Huge trees, sometimes with multiple hundreds of pieces. And I think they still have them, but they haven't released many in recent years. So this is they are basically following this old tradition again, and here with the 107465, the Weeping Willow, is going to cost you $25 for 552 pieces. Then they have this train pedestrian bridge, 107854, that is now available. It has only 708 pieces, going to cost you only $40. I say only because it's actually a pretty large set. It's around 18 by almost 19 inches and almost 10 inches high. So it has, long story short, a lot of very large pieces, right? So don't underestimate the size. It definitely does not look like a $40 set or €40 set for that matter. And you can also, as you can see here, you can extend it. So in theory, you can make this thing as big as you want, because there with the 107856, BlueBrixx is offering this middle segment. And then you basically connect them by Technic pins, and in theory, you can add as many as you want. They should be structurally sound to get as wide as you want them to be. 156 pieces for this extension kit is only $10. So I don't know, with $100, you can have an enormous bridge that should be able to cover almost every train setup. Or you can even use it for non-train setups if you're interested in that. I mean, there could be a river below this bridge, and depending on what kind of scale you're operating on, you could use this as a pedestrian bridge, but also like a vehicle bridge. So why not? Quite an interesting concept and pretty good price performance ratio. With so many very large sets, it's actually a pretty good price point. With that, we're moving on to the what is it called? The Modern Signal Box Center. So that's interesting. 108015. So this is kind of an industrial building or an office building that is used for train set operators, basically, right? Or signal operators, infrastructure operators, something like that. But I mean, it doesn't say trains or anything like that on any sign, so I guess you can use this for any kind. I mean, this could be like stockbrokers, for instance, right? So I think there's a lot of options what you can do with this one. I guess if you're interested in in a modern, in quotes, office building in your city. This may be for you as well. It is on a 32 by 32 base plate, so quite flexible what you want to do with it. From BlueBrixx side, it's under the BRYX brand. BRYX is the BlueBrixx brand for their train stuff. Anyhow, 1,621 pieces. BlueBrixx is asking for $70. With that, we're moving on to a couple of vehicles. First, the concrete mixing truck 108000. So that was the first set of the 108 number circle. This thing has 507 pieces, gonna cost you $22, 4.3 cents a piece. And yeah, I would say it's kind of minifigure scale concrete mixing truck, entirely brick built. Looks pretty neat, I must say. Not a big vehicle collector myself, though. Then we have another army vehicle from the German army line of BlueBrixx, 1,455 pieces. It's a 1x30 scale setup. I've talked about this in the past, so please always keep that in mind, because, I mean, it fits right in the middle from what Cobi is doing. Cobi is using usually 1x28 or 1x35 for their ground vehicles, like tanks and stuff. I mean, obviously, Cobi is not doing that much modern warfare stuff, but mostly, right, of course, Second World War, maybe a little bit of First World War. But anyhow, this here is a Patriot system, Patriot ECS by, again, German Army, which is all called over here Bundeswehr. Bund is basically federation. So, I mean, as you know, Germany is a federal republic. So that's basically, it's the defense force of the federation. Something like that, I guess. It's not easy to translate. Anyhow, 107894. It's going to cost you $35 by BlueBrixx, 4.5 cents a piece. Keep in mind, these BlueBrixx Pro sets, especially the Bundeswehr line, is Xingbao. That also means all the stuff that you see here is printed, pad printed usually, including the license plate of the German army. But I guess there are other I mean, the Patriot system is used by so many forces around the world. Obviously, they're not all the same for sure, but I guess you could also, I'm pretty sure similar setups are in other armed forces in Europe, especially as well. With that, we're moving on to a license set by BlueBrixx, again a pro set, and by Ziegler. So that's a company that is doing fire brigade vehicles. It is a German thing, and in fact, it says in German Feuerwehr, which means fire brigade, basically firemen. On the hood, so I guess it's only interesting to you if you're definitely interested in something that looks very European, Central European, German, Austrian maybe, but yes, it is a German vehicle. 107935, 2,616 pieces. BlueBrixx is asking for $120. With that, we're moving on to BRYX. That's also a small German brand, and actually they are focusing, they do a lot of soccer stadiums, all in a very tiny architecture setting. But now they also have started to do other like landmarks, for instance, in Berlin. I think the company is coming from Berlin. So, for instance, they have here the TV signal tower from Berlin, Berliner Fernsehturm in German. And another set that I've also recently added to the database is the Brandenburger Tor, which, of course, is a very important landmark from Berlin as well. So if you're interested in that, this could be interesting. However, so far as you can see, I have no purchase link because there is no shop that is selling these that actually has a non-German, aka an English website. So that's why, unfortunately, I have no buying options for you. But you may want to check them out. So if you're interested in European stuff, BRYX may be an interesting brand for you. Like I said, they have all these very famous German soccer stadiums and now also a little bit of Berlin architecture. With that, we're moving on to CaDA. And here we have something that may be of interest to many of you. It's the Artemis Space Launch System 56049. And actually, somebody from my German community just told me this morning that he has ordered this, so he may be able to answer the question, which I think is quite interesting. Is the stuff that you see here pad printed, or is this just stickers? I think there's a very high chance that at least some of the stuff is maybe UV direct print or pad printed, but for sure printed, because CaDA has recently done more and more prints in their sets, which I think at least this got me at least quite excited, because this could be huge, because CaDA has always done amazing sets, but in the past usually also meant that they had like a ton of stickers. I mean, CaDA was the company that had even more stickers than Lego does. So because personally I don't like sticking stuff on my bricks, I think At least for me, this is quite exciting. Yeah, I think they are collaborating with NASA here, which is also interesting because CaDA has always done a ton of space flight sets, but usually, I think almost exclusively, it has always been with a collaboration with the Chinese space program, or basically Chinese space vehicles, as of course, understandably, most Chinese manufacturers do. So that they now do a NASA vehicle, I think is quite interesting. And yeah, here you go, the Artemis launch system. I mean, this is a small set. I think it's roughly 8 by 9 or 8 by 10 inches square, and then around 3 inches. No, that's a box. I'm sorry. It's 5 by 5 inches and 12 inches in height. So it is a small set. It has only 659 pieces, but you can already buy this in China starting around 26 bucks. As always, keep in mind when I talk about Chinese retailers here, of course, shipping is making quite a difference. So usually what I try to calculate are shipping prices into Central Europe as a reference. But your mileage may vary. To my knowledge, for many of these shops, it already, even within Europe, it already depends on which country you live in. So keep that in mind and take these prices with a grain of salt. The problem is that the shipping proportion is so high in these sets that I have to put some shipping into them because it makes such a big difference, right? I mean, when you pay 26 bucks, it's pretty reasonable that maybe 15 of these are actually shipping. So I have to put some shipping in. This is why CaDA uses Central Europe as a reference, aka Germany, because, that's where I live. Anyhow, let's move on to Cobi. And here we have a ton of, in quotes, announcements following the typical Cobi strategy nowadays, that Cobi is basically not talking much about upcoming sets. They have the catalog, of course, which is kind of a PDF document that they release twice a year. And then they, however, most of the stuff they nowadays announce on Instagram. However, I want to keep you updated and informed, so that's why I also usually stick these into the CaDA, even if I don't have much besides one of these informational graphics from Instagram. But nevertheless, Cobi has told us that they will now, or will become, that they intend to release, let's put it that way, F-Force, the Phantom 2. And this is going to be 3 sets. So we have 2 Navy versions, US Navy versions, and then one from the German Air Force. So this is the F4 Phantom 2 5897. This bad boy is going to have 703 pieces. Piece count wise, this makes this one version here the biggest set. Different piece counts between the 3 versions. Usually they come from different loadouts of basically the weapons. That is one big reason with airplanes, but also with different color schemes, different print schemes, sometimes Cobi has to rearrange the pieces a little bit. So to keep that in mind, anyhow, it's a 1/48 scale airplane. It has the 2 pilots involved. And we have currently, to give you an idea of the price, BRYX has them on pre-order for around $66 US, so that's a US retailer. That's would be 9.5 cents a piece. And there's a German version. This is going to be the 5898. Slightly lower piece count. Like I said, different color scheme. Of course, it's a different Air Force, plus also a different loadout if you compare the two, right? If you look at the tank situation, the US Navy version has 3 tanks. I guess all 3 of them are tanks, I guess, right? Or what are these on the air wing? I guess they are tanks, but the German version, for instance, has a different layout, as you can see here. However, the price, at least from BlueBrixx, is going to be the same. And then there's this black version. So I don't know, somebody who's has more insights into the US military. I don't really know what this one is. It looks a bit like Fantastica. It says Navy or US Navy, but it's black, and it has a bunny on the wing. I don't really know what this means, but I can tell you it's going to cost you the same than the other 2. However, it has a lower piece count, only 608 pieces. So this is a 5899, by the way. So 3 Phantoms around the corner. And then we will have another half-track Sonderkraftfahrzeug 251. So that is, I think I've said this before, it's also not easy to translate. It's something that it's not used in Germany anymore. This was during Second World War. It basically means like special vehicle. that's it. Sonder is kind of special, Kraftfahrzeug is kind of vehicle. That's basically what it says, which is a bit weird. So I guess back in the day where the automobile was still quite new, a new concept, even in Germany, I guess this is what they called it like this. Anyhow, the 251, of course, this half-track platform is something that was widely used by the German forces during the Second World War. And this is just one of many, many versions that they had. So Cobi has done of the 251 like a ton of sets. It's very common in the Cobi loadout, so this is the new one. 30130, 2 minifigures, 1x35 scale, around 500 pieces. Again, only an announcement at this point in time, and as you can see, also no store has them listed yet. And then we will also get a Marder 3. And this is, if you look at the color scheme and everything, this is from the Desert War troops of General Rommel from Germany, 3131. Again, Second World War, 2 minifigures, 486 pieces. And it also has a tank, anti-tank cannon, and a sign until El Alamein, which of course was the big head-to-head battle that the British and the German forces had during this campaign before, I think that was the US troops landed in Northern Africa and finally kicked the German butts. With that, we are at 2599 Panzerkampfwagen 5 Panther Ausführung D. This was a wild German-English mix, but like I've said before, Panzerkampfwagen is how tanks were called during Second World War. It basically means tank fighting vehicle. I guess there was a point in time when people agreed, okay, just say tank, that's enough. But back in the day, this is how it was called. Anyhow, this is a 1x28 scale tank. Panther, of course, is a one, I guess, next to Tiger, one of the most famous tanks from the German army during Second World War, even if they never made that many of them. But I guess because they were so huge, people like to talk about them. Anyhow, this bad boy has 3 minifigures, a dog, 1,284 pieces. It is a limited edition, so you can only buy them from Cobi directly. Honestly, I don't know how the situation is outside of Europe, but in Europe, that means you have to buy them from Cobi directly. It's like an exclusive set in Lego World, but I think Cobi does not have a store in North America, so I'm not really sure how this works, but my guess is you have to import them from Europe yourself. Anyhow, with that, we're moving on to 2 airplanes. The Fokker D7. So this, of course, is a First World War German fighter plane. No, it was not a fighter jet. It was a fighter plane, 2994 in this case. So this is like the standard a blue one, and is now available, for instance, with European retailers like BlueBrixx for around $32, but also BRYX in North America has them on pre-order. Brickmo from Austria has them on pre-order as well. It has 255 pieces to my knowledge. And like I said, it's gonna cost you between $30 to $40. And then we have the, who was he called? There was a pretty famous, at least in Germany, he was famous German fighter pilot. He was actually a baron, so he was an aristocrat. And I think his name was Manfred von Richthofen, I think. Von is like the aristocratic title back in the day in Germany. So this was why many people called him the Red Baron, because he used to paint his Fokker in red so that the enemies could see him more easily. So it was kind of a way to mock his enemies. He died in action, as far as I know, 2996. And this one, however, is only available over here in Germany. What a big surprise. 33 euros. At BlueBrixx, in this case, the BlueBrixx retailer. What is now also available, at least in Europe, but also on pre-order in North America, are these 2 1x700 ships that Cobi is now doing. I mean, I've said this before, I think, or in the past. Don't know if it was in this show or somewhere else. Not a big fan of that. I love the Cobi 1x300 concept. On the other hand, I do understand 1x300 is pretty huge. So this thing, of course, which is only 15 inches in length, is quite interesting. And I think a lot of people are going to love it. And it's now the HMHS Britannic, so it's not the Titanic, which is pretty cool because usually everybody's just doing the Titanic. But now this is the sister ship, which actually never made it into civil service. So when it was ready to go, First World War, has already started. So the Royal Navy put this one into service. And it was then a hospital ship, 1618. It has 636 pieces, and you can buy this already in Europe for in the low 40s, or pre-order it in North America for around $50. And of course, the Titanic has to be there as well, 1680, slightly lower piece count. So these ships, of course, are different. I mean, the hull is the same, but of course, one was a hospital ship, the other one was like the Titanic, a civil ship. Anyhow, 593 pieces, and this one is gonna cost you between, again, $42 to $50. With that, we're moving on to Faneuil, and here we have actually not from Faneuil directly confirmed yet, but from one of my retail partners from China, in this case Reobrix, and they have already in stock the new graffiti bus stop from Faneuil 9066. $44. This thing has, as far as I can tell, 4 minifigures. Of course, it's a Faneuil set, so they have lighting included, 514 pieces. So it's one of the smaller sets, but we can expect, because this has been the standard with Faneuil in recent months, so basically the entire 2024, BlueBrixx pieces, which have very high quality, but also everything that you see here that is colored, I assume is going to be either UV direct print or pad printed. I guess most of it is UV direct print, but printed. That's what I assume. And then of course you have the lighting. What is interesting though is that this thing is modular, so you can split it into 3 individual pieces, which will be interesting when it comes to lighting. The question is, will you have cable in between, or will they have both of them their own batteries, their own power source? So this remains to be seen. But next to that, we have here the first pictures, and you can order this one for around $44 over in China. With that, we're moving on to a similar situation, but different retailer. Some information and pictures already for the new home gardening greenhouse, the 9059. This thing is going to have 1,482 pieces. 1 minifigure, as far as I can tell, which is not much, but that was the only one I could spot on the pictures. Lighting again included. This thing is a bit bigger. Of course, has a lot more pieces. So it's 10 by 9 by 6 inches, or 6 inches height, and 10 by 9 inches square. This thing is going to cost you in China around $90 at this point in time. Again, no official information from Faneuil themselves, which is not uncommon. So my guess is that Faneuil, I mean, I've talked about this in the past, but just as a quick explanation, or what I think the explanation for that is, that all the Faneuil websites, when I say official, I mean websites that are made for the Western market. And I guess simply these Chinese retailers get this stuff first. And then, of course, there's a delay because Faneuil needs to bring this stuff to Europe, customs and everything. So this takes additional time. And during this time, already Chinese retailers have these in stock. And that is why we usually have this delay of a couple of weeks between Chinese retailers already having these in their stores and then Faneuil getting these ready in their own stores. Usually, of course, that means their own Amazon warehouses over in North America and Europe. Anyhow, 9059, you can already buy this for around $91 over in China. And here we now have this situation, and this, of course, this is what I meant. So this is now, these are now the official pictures from the Faneuil themselves for the motel, in this case, 9054, 1,970 pieces, 5 minifigs, and of course, lighting included. I think I've talked about this set before, right? Somewhere like a month ago, now available, and this is typically what Faneuil is doing nowadays. So they are working with Amazon. So in this case, Amazon US, Amazon Canada have these available. For whatever reason, they seem to have more problems in Europe nowadays. So usually these go into the Amazon North America stores a lot earlier than the others. And then, of course, there's the Faneuil website themselves. And what you can also see is that usually going into the Amazon store, Amazon Faneuil store, is a lot cheaper. You see the difference here. Plus, also, of course, a lot faster because they are already local, right? They are already on North American soil. And that, of course, goes a lot faster compared to coming from China, going through customs and everything. So this is already done completely. So in Amazon US, it's going to cost you $120 US, or in Canada, $160 Canadian. Anyhow, I think, like I said, there's not much to add. It is a North American motel. Like, I guess, quite common. It seems to be a ton of printed pieces again in this set, and of course the lighting as well. And then a similar situation with the tailor shop. So this is from the medieval line or Middle Ages line. It is called by Funhole 9038, 1994 pieces, 5 minifigs. Here I've not yet found an Amazon listing, but Funhole themselves in their own store, they have it already available for $130. But of course, Chinese resellers already have it as well, like I said before. And then we have from JIESTAR a quick update here. We have a new set. I hope at least it's new, because JIESTAR has not been in the ZTB for such a long time that sometimes I'm just finding and picking up new sets in quotes that are new for me, but not new, actually newly on the market. But I'm pretty sure this one is a new set, 59093, the Bamboo House. It's actually quite a neat design, I do believe. 1945 pieces. It is like it's not really a freeform mark, but it's not on a base plate. I really like these bamboo plans. It seems even to me that they have used like green pieces on the inside, like green Technic pins, which would be quite exciting. And yeah, I think it's a neat, nifty house. I mean, I don't know. I don't really need the panda itself, but everything else looks quite beautiful. And you can buy this one for around $46 in China. With that, moving on to Lego. And here, of course, we have like a ton of availabilities. I think we can go through this very quickly. But the Lego Art Love is now, of course, available. But we also have a couple of new sets that are announced, most of them for February, some for March. First of all, we have 3 new briquettes. First, we have Dumbo. I don't know if that is how you pronounce it correctly, but of course, everybody knows him, right? With the ears and everything. 40792, still $10. Which is quite interesting. At least $10 US, and in Europe it's also $10 in the UK. Is that correct? That is interesting, because I think that makes usually no sense. But yeah, that's the numbers that I have, at least for the time being. But what is good to know, that even in 2025, Lego is still not raising prices for the briquette. So I think the briquette line is the only line from Lego that hasn't seen any large price increases in the last 5 years at least. So I think $10 has been the price point since briquettes started, which is astonishing. Makes them one of the best value line. Oh no, it's not best value, but it's a lot better than it was many, many years ago, right? If you look for inflation, that's actually quite amazing. Good to know for sure. So Dumbo 40792, and then we will have Red Panda May from this Pixar production. What was it called again? I always forget it. It's called Turning Red. And so this is the Red Panda May, 40798. Again, $10 for this briquette. And then they will do an Eeyore. I don't know how this is going to be pronounced, but of course, this is from Winnie the Pooh, 40797. And again, quite a neat briquette. Personally, my personal highlight looks it is a cool donkey, isn't it? And I think it's a nice representation of this, I guess, one of the most famous donkeys on Earth. And again, $10 basically in US quid, British quid, and euros, and $13 Canadian. With that, we're moving on to Lego City, and here now available, of course, the Formula 1 truck with RB20 and AMR24 Formula 1 car 60445. And this is now available as well. I think I've talked about these sets in the past. $100 US for this one. And then my personal highlight, or at least the winner of... I don't know. I'm pretty sure I will not buy it. I will not build it. And I'm also pretty sure there will be like a ton of stickers in this one. But still, I really like the concept the race car ramp track 60460. I've talked about this one before. It has only 436 pieces, but I think it's pretty large because it has these large rope pieces. Anyhow, it is now available, and it's gonna cost you, and again, I will most and foremost focus on the US price, but of course I have all the other not all, but many other prices in here as well, including Singapore dollars, Canadian, British quid, etc. Anyhow, $50 for this one. And then one of my personal highlights of this wave of January is the medieval dragon from the creator lineup. So this is, from my point of view, the 31161, the perfect dragon, if you will. That means it's entirely brick built, which I prefer definitely compared to many other dragons. I will have a pretty cool dragon in a second as well, but I think this one is really, really neat. It doesn't need any special pieces for the head and everything. It is entirely brick built, which is really cool. There's already a review online by Jay's Brick Block. So Jay, I think, is a recognized fan media, so of course you get, I'm pretty sure, the set already as a pre-release by Lego. And this thing, if you want to buy, it's going to cost you $60, and there are, of course, B and C builds for this one as well. Then one set that I've actually ordered is not yet delivered, but I'm really looking forward to this one, the Diagon Alley Wizarding Shop, or Diagon Alley? I don't know. Harry Potter 76444. I've been a huge fan of the Hogwarts, in quotes, architecture build. So really looking forward to this one. There's a ton of color in this. The nanofigs look amazing. I think it should also, I mean, I've already checked out the, I think it was the light tailing website on their lighting concept for this one. I think this thing should look amazing with lighting included. But anyhow, of course, no lighting from Lego. Lego is asking for $200, now available as well. Pretty cool set. And then we have Hagrid and Harry's motorcycle ride 76443. I've talked about this one in the past as well. I still don't like the design of Harry's face, to be more precise. I don't know, I'm pretty sure they tried to do a brick build design, wasn't possible, so they came up with this thing here. I don't know, I still believe it looks weird. I don't know, maybe they should not have included Harry in this set, just have Hagrid, maybe from the first book a scene, or the first movie, depending on where you come from. But I think this one here is weird. I don't know, Harry doesn't work for me, but 617 pieces. Lego is asking for $50, now available as well. And then we have the Malfoy Manor 76453, a set that I personally don't really understand. It is a playset. It is only a facade, like most Harry Potter playsets are. But the Malfoy Manor is from one of the later books, and this is not kid stuff anymore. So that's why I don't really understand why Lego is doing this kid set. Because 10-year-olds may not read these books, or I think these books have not been made for 10-year-olds. So I think, personally, I would have preferred to have an 18+ Malfoy Manor collector's set, whatever you might call it. 76453, though, 1,601 pieces. TaiGaoLe, again, Lego recognized fan media. So media outlets that are kind of attached, if you will, to Lego, and he has already a review from this of this online, $150 US. And then we have the Blacktron Renegade 10355, 1,151 pieces, 3 minifigures, and yes, a lot of interest from the community, and as a result, a lot of reviews already online. Also from the independent side, JIESTAR, it seems, has already also a review as well. All the others, as far as I can tell, are recognized fan media. $100 US is the price point, though. And with that, we're moving on to Tudor Corner 10350. I have already built this set. Have published a review on my German YouTube channel, so not for most of you. That's unfortunate, but I can give you a brief wrap up. I think it's an amazing set. Personally, I think it's my favorite from the Lego modulars. I mean, I've not built all of them, but I've built many, and I think this one is my my favorite. The building techniques are astonishing in some areas. The part use is very interesting in some areas. I mean, this fence, for instance, here, this golden fence, these are droid legs, like Star Wars battle droids, which is really amazing. But also the entire black and white section here below the roof is truly astonishing. There are a couple of quality problems in there, color deviation problems, especially in the blue tone. So that's the same bright light blue, I think it is called, that Lego also used in the Vespa icon set. And this set had the same problem, that many pieces have like a yellow to it, and this looks really awful in this set as well. And it's not every piece. I mean, I could live with that. In this case, it would only be an ugly color. The problem is it's only some pieces, so that is not good. But next to that, I think it's a beautiful set. It has the typical Lego modular problems. That means only the floor, the basement is tiled. The upper floors are not. And the minifigures are, I don't know. Lego should do more when it comes to 18+/icon sets, minifigures. And because this is basically the Lego City standard, there are no dual mold legs. There is no hips and legs are not printed. So all in all, the minifigures are not a real highlight, and I think that is something that Lego should change. But next to that, the design itself is quite amazing, and for those of you who don't speak German, you don't have to check out my review. There's other stuff out there as well. New Elementary, BRYX Architect. BRYX Architect, always really enjoy his reviews. Quite detailed, but also on the YouTube side, TaiGaoLe has a review online as well. With that, we're moving on to Icons Fountain Garden 10359. And I've not built yet any of, if you will, the predecessor, like this was the Japanese tea house garden thingy. So this one here has more like a Southern European Mediterranean vibe, like Greece or Italy maybe, Roman, Greece, something like that. It looks quite neat, and it's gonna cost you $100 US for, how much is in there? 1,302 pieces. A lot of prints included, but I guess nothing exciting. It's just these tiling on the floor. But yeah, here you go. Also, BRYX fans and New Elementary have reviews out. However, on the New Elementary side, it may not be a review. Sometimes they are just checking out the new parts. But I mean, you know the thing. You know the drill. If you're like me, a big fan of the work of a New Elementary, you know what these guys are doing. Anyhow, let's move on to the Marvel logo with minifigure 76313. Personally, I think the logo would be quite boring, but I think, yeah, with the minifigures and the functionality with the minifigures, around the minifigures, this is quite an exciting set, I think. 931 pieces. Again, reviews are out there, and it's gonna cost you $100. Then we have two announcements. These are like announcements for March sets of the new Ninjago line. So my kids are not really into Ninjago anymore, so that's why I don't really know the new season, but the color scheme is kind of obvious. They also have this kind of Evo Dragon vibe when it comes to the heads again. Always reminds me of like the Blizzard art style in Warcraft dragons, so to say. However, the color scheme, I don't know. It's not really my cup of tea, you know, with pink and purple and red and everything. But what I really like is this red dragon dude. So the helmet piece looks quite exciting. Not really a big fan. I don't know if I have a good picture, but I really don't like the new ninja design. So I think, I don't know, it's how should I put it? It's too much detail here on the ninja torso. So Lloyd looks weird, if you ask me. But you know, that's just me. And like I said, I'm not going to buy this one. We are not into Ninjago anymore. But they have also a second dragon, the Arc Dragon of Focus, 71836. Again, March 1st. 8 minifigures and a dragon. However, this dragon it's like a two-headed dragon. I don't know. It's not a Hydra yet, right? It's still a dragon, I guess. Two-headed dragon. Has like a stat shoot. No, it's not a stat shooter. It's more like a... I'm not really sure, but it seems to be kind of a shooting mechanism. Is in the center, in the torso of the dragon, which is quite cool. This dragon has 839 pieces. Different color scheme, though, with blue wings. But again, not a big fan, especially from compared to the amazing Creator Dragon. With that, moving on to Star Wars, and here we have Ahsoka's Jedi Interceptor 7541. I've actually already built this set. It's quite amazing, actually. Not that many stickers, basically only the wings. The minifigures are amazing. Pretty cool set. 45 bucks, so that's really not cheap. Star Wars continues to amaze me when it comes to the price point. 15.5 cents a piece. Oh boy, Star Wars continues to be expensive. And then the ARC 170, which surprised me a little bit. I assumed it would be smaller. However, it's quite a large set. 75402, 497 pieces. And as you can see, there's already a lot of reviews out there. And what I can say though is going to cost you 70 bucks, 14.1 cents a piece. So yeah, I think the minifigure lineup is amazing. The ARC 170 surprises when it comes to size. For whatever weird reason, Lego also decided to pet print these 3x3 round tiles in white, but not the 2x2 tile that has the Open Circle Fleet logo. I'm pretty sure that 99% of all LEGO Star Wars fans would say, hey, give me the Open Circle Fleet logo as a print and skip the other thing because nobody needs it. But I'm pretty sure I would make a bet. I'm willing to bet a good bottle of, I don't know, something that every Star Wars fan, LEGO Star Wars fan, would make this trade any day. But anyhow, LEGO decided to print this piece for whatever reason. Anyhow, that's that. With that, we're moving on to the two new ships of the Starfleet collection. First, the Acclamator class 75404. This thing is now also available for 50 bucks. And then we have the Star Wars Home 1 Cruiser 75405. It's a trap. You know, I had to say this. Gonna cost 559 pieces. Gonna cost you 70 bucks. Ooh, that's also not. And I'm pretty sure these will be small pieces. So I have not yet calculated the weight of these, but I'm pretty sure price per gram or price per plastic in quotes, price per materia, price performance ratio is going to be pretty bad. With that, moving on to Grogu with Hover 75403. So it's one of these brick build figure sets. What's to say about it? I think it's a really it's a beautiful design. I really like it. Not going to build it though. 1048 pieces. You have already several reviews out there. Lumibricks Studios, but also M&R Productions, BRYX fans on the written side though. 100 bucks for this set. So you might want to check this one out. And then we have on the Technic side available now the Ducati Panigale V4S motorcycle. Pretty sure I pronounced this entirely wrong. Sorry, I'm European, but you know, so many languages over here, so I don't speak Italian, unfortunately. But I can tell you it's a 42202, 1,603 pieces, and it's gonna cost you 200 bucks. Lego Technic nowadays, I don't know. I guess there's a reason why I personally at least buy most and foremost CaDA when it comes to Technic, because I don't know. Price performance ratio on the Lego side is not that good anymore. But it does have a license, but it has a sticker plaque. Why Lego? Why? For a $200 set. Anyhow, with that, we're done with Lego. Moving on to Mega Construx or Mega, whatever you may call it. And I don't have availability or price point yet from North America, but I can tell you that they have now a Skyrim set. Alduin, the World Master. Big Dragon again, HXR98. Personally, I'm really excited about this one. I kind of missed the Game of Thrones dragons, so really looking forward to having dragons again. I mean, this is a relatively small one, but I think especially in the past, what I've been told by people who have built these dragons is also how amazing the wings, for instance, were. Then of course we have the typical Mega or / Mattel Mega Construx action figures, kind of minifigures in there as well. And of course, the interesting color scheme of the pieces. The hat also looks quite interesting. So yeah, not sure yet. I mean, it is available in Europe, but the price is still relatively high. So I might wait until it is on discount. With that, moving on to Mould King. And here we have two kit sets now available in China. First of all, the 126P Outdoor Adventure. It's like a small Italian. I guess that's a Fiat 500. car, and then yeah, a little bit around it, 24074. I think these are kit sets, gonna cost you 20 bucks, and then they have a military version of this one. It's called the T-72, so that's a Soviet/Russian tank. Rest camp 24073. So I don't know if you want to go out in the wilds and you want to do your barbecue and you have your T-72 main battle tank with you, then yeah, you may have this a cozy camp like this one. I don't know, weird set, but here we go. And then we have another remote controlled tank. I mean, Mould King has done a ton of these recently, and this, however, is more like a future design. It's the Abrams X, which I think is what currently the US military is working on, like the next generation of Abrams tank 2036. I mean, as many of you know who are interested in tank engineering and tank research, there's a lot of, I mean, basically armament has become so good that actually modern cannons still problems have to penetrate stuff. That's, I guess, why everybody's raising the caliber, and because you're raising the caliber, the ammunition is getting heavier and heavier. Basically means you need an autoloader. You can't do this by hand anymore. And this is basically, I guess, what will drive the next generation. Plus, of course, a lot better defense against drones and stuff. So I think that is what a lot of countries over in Europe, but also, of course, in North America are working on, or South Korea. And I guess the Abrams X is what the US military is currently cooking up. And Mould King has now said these sets are basically always the same from a technical point of view, by means they have this module on the inside, which is giving you remote control for the tracks, as well as you can basically drive the turret. Not the cannon, only the turret. Basically, you can, circle it around. That's basically the functions, and then they do these system sets around it. And for instance, and they are not small. This one here, for instance, is 17 by 5 inches and 5.5 inches high. And they have like a ton of these. So if you're interested, just check them out. Or you can do this in the ZTB, for instance, under Mould King, or you go here to Army, and then just filter by, I don't know, Mould King, and then you can see they have an M1, a regular M1. I'm pretty sure these sets are almost the same, just a different cannon. And I mean, they're slightly different, right? The Abrams X has a smaller turret because, again, no human has to be inside it. Yeah, as you can see, they have a ton of these tanks. Second World War, British Challenger tank. I mean, I've talked about these in the past, right? Modern tanks as well as historical tanks. With that, moving on to a more traditional thing called a buggy off-road racing car, 18038. It's a buggy, it's a Technic set, there's motorization available. What's not to love about it? It's gonna cost you 87 bucks over in China. Pretty nifty thing. And then they have another, I guess, kit sets. Again, it's from this 24 line. 24072 is the number. It's called the Wild West Saloon. Pretty simple set, I guess. Again, not for the typical 18 plus builder. This is clearly a kit set, relatively simple, straightforward, quite robustly designed. And of course, a ton of good pieces in there, which I think is always good for a kit set. Not too many special pieces like, brackets and stuff, but more regular bricks, a couple of hinges, of course. But in general, most and foremost, tile, plate, and brick. And I think that is a good thing. By the way, Mould King calls this the mini world. With that, moving on to Reobrix, and here I have as a new set the JIESTAR Deep Sea Manned Submersible. I guess that's from Chinese, based on the name, 33042. And yeah, if you're interested in modern research submersibles, then this may be for you. Gonna cost you around 60 bucks. TaiGaoLe has 2 motorcycles newly available. In Technic version, of course, 1,446 pieces, does have the top 9T, the T4056 by TaiGaoLe. It's going to cost you slightly below 50 bucks for this motorcycle. These, I think, are not electrified or anything like that. They are just pretty to look at. And with that, moving forward to the R18 Super, so more a little bit like a chopper. I'm so not into motorcycles, so I have no idea. I'm pretty sure these things have references, and somebody who is, who knows a little bit of stuff immediately knows what kind of machines these are. So I have no idea, I'm sorry. But this is a 4055 by TaiGaoLe R18, 1,672 pieces. Gonna cost you around 50, I think it's starting from $50 in China. And then last but surely not least, the Wange Trafalgar Square 5249, typical Wange architecture set. I mean, of course, Lego has done a Trafalgar Square many years ago. I think it went EOL like 2021. I did build it back in the day, really loved it, big fan. But yeah, I mean, Lego hasn't done anything for many years, so this may be for you. I'm pretty sure it's bigger than the Lego version. It's not, I think it uses bigger pieces, at least that's how it feels like. And of course, it is on this typical Wange pedestal / baseplate thingy, which I'm personally not a big fan of, but here you go. We have a Trafalgar Square again, and I think the important pieces, the column, the museum, and everything is the lions. It's all in there. With that, we're moving on to 2 quick reading recommendations. First, the Western Stagecoach Funhole. I have reviewed this one. This has been provided to me by Funhole 9052. Pretty neat set with a combination, I mean, BlueBrixx pieces, Funhole typical lighting, and a combination of pad printed pieces and UV direct printed pieces, which all in all give this thing a quite neat look. I also really like the color scheme. The new horses by Funhole are quite interesting. They're really designed just to be not to host minifigures, but to basically just used in front of wagons. They are optimized for that. Having this, I mean, this is exactly prepared so that you can slide in a 1x plate into this horse. But yeah, all in all, quite a neat package. And of course, Funhole typical, there's lighting included as well. And then Stone Garden from our team has taken a look at the Zembo SpongeBob SquarePants lineup of these small houses. 4 sets overall, relatively small. I mean, Zembo's or the other brands of the same company, Area X, they have released and published like a ton of SpongeBob SquarePants sets. Not really sure why they sometimes, what the methodology is behind which brand they are using, but it's basically the same piece quality that does have a license. Usually most of it or even all of it is pad printed. It's pretty cool stuff, and this is here the case as well. Nice sets. However, she also has quite some criticism, so you might want to check this out. Usually I would now also do a MOCs of the week. However, we're already closing in on our limit of 60 minutes that I've given myself, so no MOCs of the week this week. I'm pretty my apologies for that. However, I will link the 6 that I want to talk about down below in the video description or in the podcast show notes, depending on where you watch this or listen to this. Just one thing that I want to pick out is, especially as I was talking about the ARC 170, so Pixel Dan has done an upgrade or a modification, which looks a lot better. It also looks like you need like a bazillion additional pieces, but the core mechanics from the original Lego set are still in there, and of course you can use the Lego minifigures, etc., etc. But I think it's a pretty neat upgrade. But like I said, I've also picked out 5 other MOCs that I want to talk about, but again, we are running a bit out of time. Nevertheless, I do hope you did like this show. So wherever you listen to this, watch this, please like, rate, follow, subscribe. I don't know, thumbs up. You know the drill. The currency of social media. So really, this is of course highly appreciated if you follow us, like our content, etc., etc. And with that, thanks for listening. See you next week.